So gotta try something new. Last year summertime my go-to was the grunt rather than the pinfish, so that's what I'm going to try today to see if that's the secret sauce. This is my secret grunt spot, and I'm very happy to say that they are here. So there's mangrove snappers, and then all these grunts are perfect size ones. So super stoked that those are around. That makes bait getting so much easier. I just know to come to this one spot. Sometimes I can cast net them, but sometimes it's easier to use a line and a hook and line, especially when they're using this cover to hide. So throwing the net, then they'll dart right under there. But let's catch a few grunts. And this is our target species and size. That's just about perfect. I'm thinking because these grunts don't have the sharp tines like the pinfish, they're more widely sought after by the tarpon, so that's what I'm going to go for. So hopefully this is the right bait for the day. Same rig I use for the pinfish, just a little egg sinker stuck up about a half a foot to a foot up. My little number 12 long shank bait hook, a little bit of squid. Just drop it in there and just try not to get mangrove. Down. There we go. And this guy's a little bit small, but that is the basics. All right, that took about maybe less than 10 minutes, and I got a bucket full of grunts, all happy and ready to entice some tarpon. So we're gonna take care of these guys, head out and check out the outlet. I'm seeing a lot of activity, surprisingly, in this little pocket here. So I'm gonna throw a bait out because I've got time, because it's still a couple hours. Difference with the grunt is that I know, whoa. With the pinfish I usually go through their back, but with the grunts I go through in their mouth and then out one of their nostrils, or just the hard part to the top there. And then I'm just going to send this guy out and see if there's any takers for him. Plus this will help me see which way the tide is moving and so forth. It should still be a kind of an incoming tide, but that's just on the outlet. Right now the water should be filling in, so it's coming in from the sides, but we'll see. And plus I could take a scout out and see if there's any more other activity around. Got something. I don't think it's a tarpon though. Coming in awful easy. A little shark maybe. Definitely not very big. Ah, it's pulling. Ugh. Stay away from my anchor. Oh no. Get away from that anchor. Ah, damn jack. Damn jacks. And he swallowed that grunt. Damn. Although I haven't caught one of these in a while. Stop, you're gonna attract the sharks. Gets to keep it. If I didn't have all that panko fried fish, I'd be taking you home. Make a lot of people happy, but not today. Alright, got another jack, I think. It's gonna eat up all my damn baits. barb puller. Hey, come on. Well, at least I know what bait to use for catching these jacks. Whether I want to or not. Stop. Yeah. At least he didn't ruin my leader. Jack Days. Get out of here. And we can add a stinky barracuda to the list. Catches today. Stop it. Don't cut my hook off. Get off, get off, get off, get off. Stinky. I'm seeing a few rollers around, and I don't want to burn through all my bait yet until this tide changes and starts going to outgoing and probably turns on the feeding. So I'm going to throw this hoagie for a little while and just see if I could chalk something up. Okay, time to do one last check of the Shark Channel outlet. This is the last cycle, I think this is the last cycle where the outgoing tide is before dark. So I think starting tomorrow, well today I think it actually coincides with sunset that the tide starts moving out, and then tomorrow it falls behind, so it actually occurs in the dark, which is no good to me. So give this a shot, see what happens, and then we're gonna have to do another adjustment and different strategy. Wow, this dude just wasted a bait, twisted up on my line. Get out of here. That just sucks. I got my secondary line wrapped up everywhere. Well, I think that's going to end the night for sure. No way I'm getting this untangled. Jesus.
For this type of fishing, ultimately the most important thing is the tide and the time, to be honest. Bait's very important, but not as important as the tide and the time of day. Ultimately, what I'm specifically looking for my best odds and chances are an outgoing tide, top of the outgoing tide, and right at evening time sun setting. That ultimately, for tarpon specifically, tends to be when they start feeding and going into that feeding frenzy, where realistically it doesn't matter the type of bait that you put in front of them, they're just going to gobble it down. Now, getting that right timing right is a little bit challenging. So I use this app called Tides for Fishing. They all work off the same system, so it's not that much difference, but this is the ones I use. So for tonight, on the Saturday the 3rd, I hit it so that high tide was at 7:42 p.m. with a sun setting at 8:13 p.m. Now that's relatively close. I talked about in the video, it's right at that borderline of the outgoing tide. Unfortunately, there was no movement at all until after the sun went down, and by that time it was a little bit too late. I could have hung around, but for the videoing part of it, it just wouldn't worked out. So I'd much rather would have been into this point between 10 and 11 o'clock would have been ultimately fine, and I have a feeling that's when they would have started feeding. There just was no movement at that time, it was just too close. So, but if we go back to Thursday, which is the last day I caught a tarpon out there, and take a look at that chart, you'll see that high tide was at 5:03 p.m. Sunset was at 8:12 p.m. So I was sitting out there that slack tide, and then as it started going, and as you saw, I caught that right around probably at half an hour before the sunset, and that falls right into that time frame, that little sweet spot that I'm looking for. Now, unfortunately, to find those exact patterns again, if I go through the chart for Saddle Bunch Keys, so I'm looking for this sweet spot here. So the fourth tide or the high tide in the evening time, around at 5 or 6 o'clock, so that it starts moving, definitely moving water by 8 o'clock. And the reason for the moving water is strictly that that's when all the bait and food gets flushed off the flats and gets pushed out into the sea, and that's when the fish are expecting to get their meal on, and that's what they're looking for. Unfortunately, if you take a look at this, my next window isn't going to be until the 17th of June. So realistically, until then, all the tides are either going to be backwards or off, where it's an incoming tide or it's just not right. So this is my window. So 17th, 18th, and 19th, I guarantee you, unless there's a hurricane going on, I'll be out there at that shark channel fishing for tarpon. So anyways, hopefully that kind of explains my strategies for this part of it. Now this is strictly a channel outlet style fishing for tarpon, but usually it kind of coincides with other feeding patterns as well. So hopefully that helps. Thanks.